with NFL star Sean Taylor's family praying he would survive the night. The cops turned to the one person who was actually there when Sean was gunned down, his fiancée, Jackie.
A young phenom with the world in his hands gets shot down in his own bedroom, trying to protect the people he loves. The men responsible thought nobody was home. They were wrong, and what came after took 7 years and 5 separate trials before the full truth came out. The Rise. Sean Michael Maurice Taylor came into this world on April 1, 1983 in Florida City, Florida. Born to Pedro Taylor and Donna Jr., who split up when he was still a toddler. He spent his earliest years with his great-grandmother before moving in with his father and stepmother at age 11, settling into the Richmond Heights area of Miami-Dade County, a neighborhood of small, colorful houses and tight-knit families. His father eventually became chief of police back in Florida City, and that discipline rubbed off on Sean even while he was still finding his way as a kid. What made Sean different showed up early, on the field. At Gulliver Prep in Pinecrest, he turned into one of the most feared two-way players Florida had seen in years, and by his senior season in 2000, the whole state was talking about him.
Taylor is the Raiders' first offensive option, rushing for over 1,300 yards in the regular season, plus 550 in the playoffs. And he's also the last line of defense for the Raiders at free safety.
That year, he helped lead Gulliver to the Florida Class 2A state championship, putting up a state record 44 touchdowns while also racking up over 100 tackles on defense. Scouts across the country already knew his name before he ever stepped foot on a college campus. He took that talent to the University of Miami, where he was part of the 2001 BCS National Championship team as a true freshman. By his junior year in 2003, he had grown into one of the best defensive backs in the country, leading the nation with 10 interceptions and taking home the Jack Tatum Trophy as the top defensive back in college football. He skipped his senior season to enter the NFL draft, and the Washington Redskins scooped him up with the 5th overall pick in 2004, signing him to a deal worth up to $18.5 million. In the league, people started calling him Meast, half man, half beast, because of how hard he hit and how much ground he covered. Assistant coach Greg Williams called him the best athlete he had ever coached, and opponents learned fast that running anywhere near the middle of the field meant taking a risk. Sports Illustrated even named him the hardest hitting player in the league before the 2007 season started. His rookie year, he came in and made plays right away, recording 76 tackles and 4 interceptions in just 15 games. By 2006, he put together a career year with 111 tackles and earned his first Pro Bowl selection. He was still young, still getting better every single season, and the whole league could see it coming. But football wasn't the only thing changing for Sean. In 2006, his daughter Jackie was born, and people close to him said it shifted something inside of him. He was growing up, settling down, turning into the kind of man who thought past the next game. By November 2007, Sean was 24 years old, nursing a knee injury and staying close to home in Palmetto Bay, Florida, while the rest of the Redskins traveled. He had no idea his house had already been visited once before.
A week before Sean was shot, his house was broken into. Someone had come into his home, ransacked everything, looked through the drawers, tampered with the safe.
And there was like a large butcher's knife left on my bed.
On November 18, 2007, intruders broke into Sean's home while he was traveling with the team, going through drawers and a safe and leaving a kitchen knife sitting right on his bed. Nothing major was taken. At the time, it looked like a random burglary, the kind that happens to plenty of people and gets written off as bad luck. Nobody connected it to anything bigger. Nobody thought it was a warning of what was coming. Sean decided to stay home that week instead of flying to Tampa with the team, waiting on a second opinion for his knee. His longtime girlfriend, Jackie Garcia, was there with him, along with their 18-month-old daughter. It was supposed to be a quiet night at home with his family. Instead, it became the beginning of the end. The night everything changed. Around 1:30 in the morning on November 26, 2007, Sean and Jackie were woken up by noise in the house. It wasn't the wind or the house settling. It was the sound of more than one person moving around where nobody was supposed to be.
He's like, hey, someone's in the house.
Sean tells his girlfriend to get under the covers with the baby.
And he pulls out a machete from under the bed. And just as he's going to the bedroom door,
next thing she hears is a loud bang.
Sean told Jackie to hide and grabbed a machete he kept under the bed for protection. As the intruders kicked the bedroom door open, shots rang out from the hallway, and one bullet struck Sean in the upper thigh, severing his femoral artery. The men who broke in never even fully stepped into the room. They fired, they panicked, and they ran, taking nothing with them. Jackie waited until she was sure the intruders were gone before calling 911. By the time help arrived, Sean had already lost a massive amount of blood. He was rushed to Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami, where doctors fought to save him through surgery, but he never regained consciousness and died around 3:30 in the morning on November 27, 2007, just 24 years old. The autopsy confirmed the cause of death as blood loss from the gunshot wound, with no drugs or alcohol found in his system. He had done everything right, woken up, protected his family, and it still wasn't enough. The news hit the NFL like a gut punch. Commissioner Roger Goodell and the entire league mourned, and for that week's games, every player wore a number 21 decal on his helmet. The Redskins were hit even harder. The team kept his locker exactly the way he left it, encased in glass at their facility, and players wore his number to honor him for months afterward. But behind all of that grief, the people who loved Sean were left with one burning question: who did this and why? Investigators didn't waste time. The break-in from a week earlier turned out to be the key. Police believed the same people behind that burglary came back for round 2, and this time they brought a gun. Within days, the trail led to a group of young men out of the Fort Myers area, connected through one suspect's relationship to Sean's half-sister, who had reportedly seen Sean give her an expensive gift worth around $10,000 weeks earlier. That gift planted an idea in their heads that Sean was sitting on serious cash, maybe even 6 figures worth, just waiting inside his house. On November 30th, 2007, 4 suspects were arrested: Venya Hunta, who was 20, Eric Rivera Jr., just 17, and identified as the shooter, Jason Mitchell, the alleged organizer at 19, and Charles Wardlow, who was 18. A 5th man, Timothy Brown, only 16 at the time, was charged months later. The gun used in the shooting was never recovered. Investigators believe it was wrapped in a sock and thrown into the Everglades, gone for good. What made the case so hard to accept was how avoidable it all was. This wasn't some calculated hit on a star athlete. It was described by investigators as amateurish and opportunistic, a robbery that spun completely out of control. 5 young men, 1 bad plan, and a family that would never be the same again. Now the only thing left was justice, and that would take years to come. Justice and the name that lives on. Justice for Sean Taylor did not come fast. The case dragged on for years, delayed by witness interviews, lawyer changes, and scheduling conflicts. And because the shooter was only 17 at the time of the crime, the death penalty was never on the table. Eric Rivera Jr., the alleged triggerman, finally went to trial in October 2013. He had given police a videotaped confession admitting he kicked in the bedroom door and fired the shot that killed Sean after Sean confronted the group with a machete. But once the trial started, he flipped the story, claiming police pressured him into that confession and that someone else actually pulled the trigger. The jury didn't fully buy either side. On November 4th, 2013, they convicted him of second-degree murder and armed burglary, and that January, a judge sentenced him to 57.5 years in prison. Prosecutors didn't hold back describing who he was, calling him a sophisticated, manipulative criminal. Rivera offered a brief apology in court, saying Sean was a good man. Jason Mitchell, the man investigators say organized the whole thing, was convicted in June 2014 of first-degree felony, murder, and armed burglary, and sentenced to life in prison. Charles Wardlow took a plea deal and was sentenced to 30 years. Venya Hunta accepted a plea early on and got 29 years, and Timothy Brown, the youngest of the group, was sentenced to 18 years under a plea agreement in 2015. 5 young men, 5 sentences, and a shared accountability for one night that should have never happened. Even with the convictions, the pain never fully went away. His funeral was held at Florida International University's Farmed Arena, packed with teammates, family, and fans who still couldn't believe what had happened. The Redskins preserved Sean's locker exactly as he left it and set up a trust fund for his daughter. Teammates like Chris Cooley and Chris Samuels wore his number 21 in the Pro Bowl that followed his death, and the franchise made sure his name stayed close to home. The team retired his number 21 in 2021 and inducted him into their Ring of Fame, and in 2024, they announced plans to build the franchise's first ever statue of a former player in his honor. His daughter Jackie grew up carrying a name that came with a lot of weight.
I never really wanted to live in the shadow like, oh, Sean Taylor's daughter. But I also totally understand that it just comes with it. There's a purpose behind carrying out his legacy, but also finding like my own name and finding my own path.
Today, Jackie plays volleyball at the University of North Carolina, wearing the same number 21 her father made famous. She was only 18 months old when he died, but through his teammates, his friends, and the stories people still tell about him, she has pieced together who he was, and she carries that with her every time she steps on the court. Sean Taylor was on a path that could have ended in the Hall of Fame. Instead, his story became a lesson in how fast everything can be taken away, and how the people left behind find a way to keep someone's name alive. If his story moved you, drop a comment and let us know what stood out, and click on one of the cards on your screen for more stories like this one.